Okay, first I want to ask for a moment of silence while we remember the over 3,000 lives lost on this day, 18 years ago, when our country suffered its most horrific attack. Thank you. First, I want to recognize our council president who have joined us this morning. Today we will have Recs and Parks Director Reginald Moore talk about their recent launch initiative, Recreation 2025. But first I want to congratulate the director and the staff at Recs and Parks for a great first weekend on Saturday opening at rec centers, where we welcome over 800 youth, and I expect that number to only grow. This marked the first time rec centers have been open on weekends in over 40 years. It's about providing our young people with positive engagement, whether it be athletic, educational, or artistic. Now let me introduce Reginald Moore, Director of Recs and Parks, to tell us more about Rec 2025.
Good morning. Mayor Young and Council President Scott, I want to continue to thank you all for your continued support for recreation and the many things that we're doing and your support. As the mayor stated earlier, we were truly excited to see the reopening of our rec centers. All 44, I got a chance to visit at least 10 of those rec centers over the weekend, and the commitment and excitement from the community to know that those centers are back open. But with that, we want to continue to move our needle. We want to continue to identify and understand what the community expects of rec and parks. And from that, hence the launch of Rec 2025. Rec 2025 is our strategic 5-year plan. What can we do in the next 5 years? How do we improve our facilities over the next 5 years? What programming that the community wants? And it's important for us to know, as I stated earlier, what the community wants. So we want the community support. We want the community input. And so with that, there's many ways that you can share and give us your input. One way is by our public survey. You will be able to identify and find that public survey on our myrec2025.com. Secondly, we're having a total of 8 town hall meetings throughout the city, starting with September 27th with our first meeting at Shake and Bake Fun Center. And that meeting is where we want the community to come out and share their opinions and their thoughts, but we're also having something that's unique because we want to hear from our teens, we want to hear from our seniors, and we also want to hear from our therapeutic community. So we're having 3 specialty town halls that's focused on seniors, therapeutics, and teens. That's also you will be able to find in our listing of town hall meetings. So with that being said, Mayor Young, Council President Scott, please help me in joining to launch the MyRec 2025 website. And I believe, James, you can show and let everyone see there. And as it states in it, it talks a little bit about the history of Rec and Park, what's happened over the last 20 years. I think there's some really unique information that you will see there. Also, it has our public survey, and it has a list of all of our town hall meetings when they're scheduled. And also it's an opportunity where people can join and sign up so that they can follow and hear the many changes that we're finding through these community meetings, and they will be able to know when that launch and the final plan for the Rec 2025. Thank you.
At this time, our council president will have some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Director. I just came here today to, again, congratulate the Rec and Parks for being open from the first time since the 70s. It's something that the council worked with the administration in doing, and we're looking forward to making sure that our rec centers, again, through the Rec 2025 program, are not only open, but we're also transforming them to be 21st century recreation centers. We know how much rec centers meant to me, how much they meant to the mayor growing up, and we have to make sure that the young people, our seniors, everyone in the city who wants to be a part of recreation and parks are participating in facilities that they think are what they need for Baltimore today. So as long as I'm on the council, as long as I'm elected in Baltimore, we will always support Rec and Parks and try to make them better. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to working with the council to go even further and trying to identify closed rec centers that have been closed, finding partners like we did with Harlem Park, and see if we can get more rec centers open in some of these neighborhoods that really don't have any recreation. Again, thank you, Mr. President. Any question on Rec 2020? Thank you. Thank you, Director Moore. Okay. As I'm sure some of you are aware, we are finally ready to reopen the central branch of the library, and we're very excited about returning this treasure to the people of Baltimore. So next we'll hear from Heidi Daniels, CEO for Enid Pratt Free Library, about the grand reopening of the central branch and the block party they are hosting to mark the big day. Heidi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. After 2 decades of planning and almost a little over 3 years of construction, I'm thrilled to announce that we'll have the grand reopening of Enoch Pratt Central Library. The $115 million renovation preserves the history of the building while moving it into the future with technology and new spaces. The renovation includes a new job and career center, an expanded teen wing with an audio-video recording booth, more than double the number of computers, a restored children's library, including a restored fish pond, because we know that that was a central piece for Baltimore, a new creative arts center, and a new Best and Next department, and much, much more. All of you are invited to a special press sneak preview at the library this Friday, September 13th at 11:30 a.m. We'll have our entire design team there to answer questions. And then I want to invite the entire state of Maryland to our grand reopening block party this Saturday, September 14th. Festivities will begin at 11 with a ribbon cutting at noon. For the full day, we have food vendors, authors, and performers. And of course, it's all free at your central library. Thank you.
Okay, any questions concerning the Enid Pratt Library? Block party, any of that? Okay. Okay, before I open it up for any questions, I just want to let you know we've read the letter from Governor Hogan and are actively engaged in conversation about specific points in that letter. Let me be clear, reducing violent crime is my top priority. As a leader of the city, I get the late night phone calls about shootings. We console parents who lost children to violence, and we field the calls that one of our police officers had been involved in a shooting. The total of gun violence in our lived experience each day. And while we work tirelessly to find solutions at the local level, we rely heavily on the leadership of our state and federal partners to take action where we cannot. I appreciate the governor's continued engagement with our efforts to drive down violent crime and commitment continue to invest in our city. There are several items listed in the letter that we're going to sit down with his administration and work through them. The governor pledged his support to me, and we're going to keep engaging the state as we work towards solutions to make our city safer. At this time, I'll open it up for any questions.
What, if anything, can the governor do on that list without the city's approval?
To be honest with you, we're still looking forward to working with the governor and his team to go through the items that's listed in that letter, and we're looking forward to those conversations.
The governor referred to the crime plan that was introduced at the end of July as quote-unquote status quo. How do you respond to that?
Well, we're going to continue to work with the governor and his team. You know, we believe that we have a very robust crime plan, and what we outline in the letter to the governor will help us realize that. And we're looking forward to working with him and his administration to address any concerns that he might have. We're going to sit down and work with him. He's been a partner, and I want to continue the relationship.
Commissioner, you want to respond to that question as well?
Well, first of all, it is absolutely not a status quo crime plan. It outlines many things that we do not have and have not had, and it talks about comprehensive strategies to reduce crime, but it's also a 5-year transformational plan, and it is a plan that we had not had for many years. It's the first of its kind we've had in many years. So it can't be a status quo because it's the first of its kind that many people have seen.
He's recommending that I and this kind of be implemented as soon as this week. What do you say about that?
Well, I'm going to repeat what I said. We're going to sit down with the governor and his administration, and we're going to go over everything that he's outlined in his letter that we read and have that discussion.
When will you sit down with him?
We're planning that now. I just started reading the letter this morning.
Mayor, the governor is pretty clear in his letter that he was asking for your support and the city's support on tougher gun sentencing, which he proposed last year and did not succeed in the legislature. Are you
Well-
willing to lead the charge of Baltimore City to garner support for that?
I'm willing to sit down with the governor and his team and our legislators to come up with whatever support that we need to gather to do something about reducing violent crime. Now, it failed in the House the last go-round. I just want to be on record as I don't agree with all the violent repeat offenders being let back out on the street. But we're going to sit down and work with the administration and the legislator with the Speaker of the House to come up with something, because we have to do something. Whatever that is, I can't speak to right now. There's nothing been introduced as far as I know. So we're going to work with our delegation along with the governor to come up with something.
What's the need for the more discussions? I mean, can't the state police helicopters be in the air tonight to help out? Why keep talking about it?
We're going to work with the governor and his administration to go over the things that are listed in this letter, and that's what we plan to do.
Do you think the letter was an actual offer of help, or do you think it was more aimed at pinning you into a political corner?
I wouldn't say that the governor pinned me in a political corner. These are some of the things that he outlined in his letter. Some of them are the things that we outlined in the letter that we gave you all. So we're going to sit down with the administration and go over it. I mean, you know, we're partners in this. He is the leader of the state, and we're one of the cities in his state. So we're going to work with the governor and his team, along with our team, to come up with whatever we can do to reduce violent crime in the city of Baltimore.
Commissioner, you're coming from a long tenure in New Orleans, with a lot of similarities to the city of Baltimore. How would you describe the difference between the relationship between the city and the state here, and if there is any, and the city and the state in Louisiana?
Well, it is somewhat different, and the funding we got in New Orleans came from the city. And let's not forget, I became the chief 4 years into that mayor's term. And there were a lot of programs that were already in place that we built upon. And so the successes that you see that I had came as a result of long-standing programs that were built and major investments that were made. And those successes came in my second, third, and fourth year, not right away. And I think there are many similarities here. It's just a different political dynamic in having to be engaged with the state for funding.
Commissioner, the governor talked about using the state police a little bit more with the helicopter. Can you explain how that'll work from what we read in that letter?
Well, from our conversation, and I think this requires more conversation with the mayor, me, and the mayor, me, and the governor, but I believe it is some additional support with his aerial unit to fly into the city to help with our Foxtrot unit and to provide more aerial support for us to identify bad actors and to maybe follow them and help apprehend them. We've asked for a number of things. In addition to that, we've asked for some specific things from the state that I think requires another sit down for us to speak further about.
Anything else?
The governor set some benchmarks, pretty specific benchmarks. Homicide went to 200. Asking for quarterly reports from the city to, I mean, how are you going to respond to that? How are you going to meet that?
Well, to be honest with you, we don't want to see any murders. And I'm quite sure the governor don't want to see any murders either. But realistically, we know we have that problem. We're going to sit down with the governor and his administration and come up with some realistic goals. The funding that we asked for is a part of what we need in order to reduce violent crime in the city. So I'm going to continue to say what I just said. I'm going to sit down with the governor and his team, along with my team, and our delegation to Annapolis to have the conversation.
Mr. Mayor, can you respond to the preparation for the president's visit here tomorrow?
We are welcome in the city, and he's welcome to be here.
What can people expect in terms of road closures, traffic disruptions? Do you have any information on any of that?
Say that again.
In terms of road closures and disruptions, just to people getting around?
I would defer to the commissioner or his team.
Okay. Look, we're working with all of the respective agencies to make sure we have operational readiness to provide safety for our leader and for the people of Baltimore at the same time. But I'll let Colonel Worley get into a little bit more specifics of what to expect.
Good morning. Yes, we've been working with the state and the city and the mayor's office and all of our federal partners to come up with a comprehensive plan to address it. The road closures will be coming out later on this afternoon from the mayor's office once we finalize the route and everything that the president will be taking.
How are you going to handle the apparently a number of protests planned?
We're pretty good at handling protests over the last 5 years, so I think we'll do a pretty good job with it. We've got a lot of practice in the last 5 years.
While you're here, is there anything new on the investigation of the van with the diesel fuel that was discovered in the parking garage?
They're still trying to track down the van changed hands several times over the last few months as far as sales, and they're trying to track down who was driving it. We have a good photo of the person who parked it in the garage and left the area.
Is there any connection with the arrest that was made in Baltimore County?
We haven't found any yet, but it's a coincidence that apparently it is something that's been going on for a while with them stealing the diesel fuel.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
There was a couple who was attacked by squeegee kids a couple months ago, and then they moved out of the state because of fear of violence in the city. Do you have any reaction to that?
Anytime there's any criminal activity or assault on any citizen, we take that very seriously. We are working with the commissioner and my Children Family Success agency to come up with some recommendations on how we're going to deal with the squeegee kids. Thank you.
Thank you all.